Robert from Metal Rules, how are you?
Hi. Considering the circumstances, okay.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm excited to talk to you about your new CD.
Thank you.
So you orchestrated another great group of vocalists for Immortal. Can you tell me about your connection with some of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a long story. It was actually not planned, even though when I realized that my 50th anniversary was coming up, I decided to celebrate the 50th anniversary with musician fans and friends, and it was dragging on, and it's very, very hard to put, musicians from all over the world together to do something like that. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I missed the timing, because the 50th anniversary could not have been released by 2020. And then my agent told me, Michael, but your Lonesome Crow Scorpions album was released in 72. And so I said, so I have 2 years to get this all together. And so I had hope again, but this time I decided maybe to make it more simple and put a compact band together, with a current lineup to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And so I asked Ronnie Romero if he wanted to be the singer for the whole album, and the rest of the band, and Barry Sparks, he kept emailing me, I want to be your bass player. I said, you got it. And so I had a with Bodo Shop and Steve Mann, I had a compact band together, and I started writing, and when I was ready to record, I went to Germany, which was very difficult because of the problems of the virus that were coming up. All the borders were locked, and I couldn't use my usual route. I usually drive, but eventually we found a way via Holland, so I made it to the studio, put down my musical compositions, and then it was time for Ronnie to sing. Ronnie, are you ready? And Ronnie went like, I'm sorry, Michael, it's a problem. All the borders are blocked. I don't want to go on a 14-day quarantine, and I have commitments, etc. I said, okay, don't worry. We think of something, and we call you back. And so I asked my partner Amy, who's a bass player, and she has a very good taste, and she's a consumer. I haven't been listening to music for 50 years. I don't know what's out there. So I had no idea, and she said, I asked her, do you know a singer who could help us out? And she said, Ralph Shippers would be great. I said, okay, I trust you. I said to Michael Foss, my co-producer, hey, what about Ralph Shippers? Do you know him? Oh, absolutely fantastic. The next day, they were recording. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we got another song out of him, and then, if that wasn't enough, there was a phone call coming in to Michael Foss from Brian Tichy, one of the best drummers in the world, and he's a fan. And he said, I heard about the 50th anniversary of Michael, and I want to contribute like 6 songs.
Wow.
On drums. And I said, what? That's unbelievable. if that was not all, he called back Michael Foss again and said a buddy of mine heard about the 50th anniversary, is also a fan. His name is Derek Sherry, and he wants to make a contribution on keyboards. And I said to Michael Foss, as far as I know, that guy is a heavy-duty keyboard player, like one of the top 10 keyboard players. What are we going to do with a guy like that? We already have Steve Mann. I purposely put all the guitars down myself this time to make it more guitar-oriented and have Steve Mann just do little sprinkles of coloring on the keyboards. And so what are we going to do with Derek? He said, like, well, maybe you can do a jam between guitar and keyboards. I said, guitar? Between keyboards and guitar? I've never done anything like this. And he said, well, maybe it's a good idea to do something, you never done before, especially for the 50th anniversary. And I said, like, you mean like Richie Blackmore and John Lord? He went, yeah, maybe like something like that.
Yeah.
I said, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe there could be something very interesting for the fans to hear something they have never heard before. And actually, I got excited by it. And when I heard the result of Ralph and Brian and Derek, which became Drill to Kill, I was shocked. I mean, I never even knew there was a vocalist like Ralph. I was absolutely shocked, and it just kind of went like that. And the funny thing is, what I actually planned in 2019 to have guest musicians and friends and tents, all of a sudden it came back to the original idea, but this time I didn't have to do anything.
Right.
It was like phone calls were coming in from all directions, and things were kind of developing because of the virus in such a weird way that I was actually at the end, I was shocked how it worked out. The next thing was we called up Ronnie Romero again. Are you ready? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still 14. I don't want to go on 14 days quarantine. Oh, by the way, actually, I went on 42 days quarantine throughout the whole recording. Without that, it would have never happened,
Right.
And so I said to Michael Foss, well, what can we do? Do you have any ideas? He said, like, what about Jolene Turner?
He's great.
Jolene Turner, he's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Do you have a connection to him? He said, like, absolutely. And the next day, they were recording. I could not believe it. And we got another song out of it. And it just went on and on. I came back from the hotel one morning, and Michael Foss said to me, this is what I did to one of your songs. And I listened to it, because Michael Foss always, puts a B plan together for lyrics and melodies, just in case a singer gets lost and needs some help. And he played me what he did, and I said, Michael, this is unbelievable. And it was a power ballad. I don't even remember having ever done a power ballad before. So that was something new as well. And when I heard him singing, I said, Michael, you only can sing this song. This is so from the heart and so beautiful. And then there was another song called the Queen of Thornton Roses, which was an unusual song. And Michael did something to that too, and he played it to me, and I said, I can only imagine you singing this. That is amazing. And so here we go. 6 songs, Romero was supposed to sing 10, actually 11 with the bonus I wrote, and eventually he ended up with less songs, and eventually he was ready, and so we carried on with him, and he did a fantastic job with the rest of the remaining songs.
Yeah.
And so it just went on, and then there was the song In Search of the Peace of Mind, which, was one of the very first music I ever wrote when I was 15 years old,
right?
Which was recorded with Lonesome Crow Scorpions, and Michael Frost, he sent me the original credits, and it said Michael Schenker lyrics, Rudolf Schenker lyrics. I mean, Rudolf and Michael had zero knowledge English. How could we have written lyrics for this song?
Yes.
And he should have said music written by Michael Schenker and the lyrics by whoever. And it was also my very first composition I ever did when I was 15 years old, and quite complex. Rudolf can't even play it because of the double picking, and there's also a lead break in the middle that I did when I was 15. I would never change a note in hundreds of years, like Stairway to Heaven or Theme of the Imaginary Restaurant. This is perfect. You would never change a note. It happens sometimes, and it happened to me with that song. I mean, you can hear on Lonesome Crow that I am developing. I'm an amateur. I'm 15 years old. And where did that lead break come from? I still cannot understand up to this day. But it happened, and so it also being called In Search of the Peace of Mind has been the theme of my life. Looking for contentment, fulfillment, etc., and so it all fits so together that I thought, this song has to be, and it was also the very first note I put on the recording on Lonesome Crow, at that point. And so it was becoming the most important song to use as a celebration song for the 50th anniversary of Michael Schenker, and I wanted to put something special on the end, and so I did. And what came out of it was unbelievable. It was like, I was using the howler, the wah pedal, bending strings, so many emotions. When I listen back to it today, it sounds like as if I expressed on lead guitar my whole 50 years journey, with all the emotions and drama, and like we all have. It sounds like an inner conversation on guitar. Like we all have inner conversations.
Yes.
Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Making choices and stuff like that. And we all have inner confusions and dramas and crises that we are going through. And so when I listen back to it, it ended up to be like a conversation between, an inner conversation,
right?
That actually in the end turned out as if I am playing on lead guitar my whole 50 years journey, and I was so happy, and I can still understand how that actually ended up like that. Again, the whole virus thing took everything back to what I originally wished for, and I can only say, thank you, universe. it feels like a gift from the universe, for my, for my 50th anniversary. I mean, it actually, everything ended up so incredible. And on top of that, then Simon Phillips came in, and he did unbelievable on two songs, and especially on In Search of the Peace of Mind. And everything kind of ended up, even on top of that, I asked Gary Barton, from the Michael Schenker fans,
yes.
if he would sing the first verse of In Search of the Peace of Mind, because his voice is so, fearful and manly and mid-range and full of feeling, that it was so perfect for him to sing that. And he said, of course, Michael, I'll do that for you. And then we asked Doogie White and Robin. Graham Bonnet wasn't available because he had an operation on his arm, and so I had, and they said, of course we do this. And can you do the thing? And I tried, just as a little bit of a contribution for the 50th, and they did. And in the end, I had the Michael Schenker Fest singers, with the exception of Graham Bonnet, on that song, which made that song so complete. I mean, I was so happy.
It's true. It's a fantastic musical piece. Are you thinking that you're going to, in the next 2 years, you're going to work on some sort of box set that really covers your entire career as well?
Well, I'm not that kind of a guy, who thinks about things like that. I'm just like a kid in a sandbox, having fun playing. I don't compete. I don't compare. I don't look for fortune I'm not looking for fame or success. I mean, everything that happened to me happened based on circumstances. I was just, always the kid in the sandbox, enjoying putting 3 notes together and creating goose pimples and just having fun, recreational. And that's what I had to, in my middle years, I had to focus on, after I left the Scorpions, helping them, opening the doors for America for them, I needed to carry on with my own vision. I couldn't join Ozzy Osbourne or Deep Purple or Phil Lynott or Ian Hacker or all of those guys who asked me. I could have stayed with UFO. UFO would have been one of the biggest bands in the world if I would have stayed with them. But I had my own vision. I had to move forward as an artist in my middle years. So I did acoustic instruments, electric instrumentals, and all of that kind of stuff. And in the end got fulfilled until the time in 2008. Something in my brain, felt like I was going back to being 16, 18, 20 years old. And so I felt like I was complete and I wanted to carry on where I started. And that's but I was in the midst of beauty with Gary Barton in 2008, and then, went forward and connected back with the music machine and so I just went and I always stay in the now. I never look forward. Everything that happens to me is always based on circumstances and based on what I really want. I want to self-express. I want to be Michael Schenker, not somebody who picks from the trend to get a piece of the pie of fame or success or money. Many people, if it's anything, I created a trend. Many people in the 80s copied my guitar style and kind of overexposed it. By the time I was, being Michael Schenker, it was already overexposed. But because I go to the inner self of the infinite spring of creativity, I always, find a new freshness that I with no fresh water, it becomes just like nothing, stagnant, you know?
Right.
And so that is my comfortable place. And thinking of things like a box and a book and all of that kind of stuff is not really. I mean, I'm a musician. I'm an artist. Let the music do the talking.
Sure.
That's what I'm interested in.
That's a great sentiment. And it also makes me wonder, like, Eddie Van Halen left so much music behind that the world may never hear. On the other hand, you've given the fans so much great music between the Scorpions, UFO, all of your solo endeavors. Do you feel that you've given everything you have musically to the fans?
No, because I go to the infinite spring of creativity, where all creativity comes from. It's endless. I mean, it's like a kaleidoscope. You shake it and you have a new pattern, or like a tropical ocean. Every fish has a different pattern. It's just like the spring of infinite creativity that comes from the Creator that created everything. It's endless.
Yeah.
I mean, look around you. I mean, look at nature. There's always something new to discover. And so that's where I love to be. And because of that, I never get a writing block. I never get stuck with writing because I always fish a new, fresh injection, that helps my development and creates another fresh Michael Schenker. It's just endless.
Yeah, no, that's great. Something I've seen you play several times over the last multiple years when you've come to New York City, and I always wonder with your guitar playing, on your guitar and your strings, you never cut the ends of the strings off the top of the guitar. Why is that? I've always wondered.
It's absolutely, it's meaningless. As meaningless as me using the flying V. I never looked for the flying V. The flying V came to me and under circumstances again.
Right.
And so once I had to use the flying V, I discovered very, very fast. I'm very creative, and because of the shape, I realized what I can do with it. I put it between my legs and created a really heavy vibrato because of the stability that you have when you put it between your legs. That's why I also became an icon, because also based on circumstances, because of what I did with the flying V for creating a development as a player. Because of the flying V, I created this strange look of bending and looking really different to other guitarists,
sure,
which then became an icon. But it was never my plan. It just happened, and so everything just happens like that. What was your question? Just one more time.
It was about cutting the ends of the strings off.
The strings.
You don't poke your eye out or something.
Yes, the strings. I never felt like wasting my time cutting strings.
That's funny. I always wonder, you're going to poke an eye out. It's because somebody's going to lose an eye with the strings hanging out like that.
No, it's opposite. Because when you have long strings, they bend. And if you have a very sharp end, a cut string, it can really hurt your finger when you bump into it. And so the long strings they have never hurt anybody, because when you actually touch a long string, it bends. It doesn't hurt anybody.
Right. Oh, that's funny. I have one last question for you. I saw you play in New York City with Rat during the Unplugged session. what do you recall about that opportunity? And was there ever talk of you joining Rat and touring with them?
You know, Warren DeMartini has been a number one fan for, since he started playing guitar, and he became a friend eventually. And I was living in Los Angeles, and Crosby died, and Warren asked me if I could please help him out, to replace Crosby, and so I said, okay, I'll do this for you. Plus, I just joined Left Back Management with Robin McCauley, and we had like a 6 months period of before we actually started the third album, McCauley Schenker album, and so I said, yeah, okay, I've got the time, I do this. It was a very unusual journey. I mean, Rat is was such a weird bunch of people. They were actually very divided, that I experienced all of that. I was completely straight, I traveled with them, and the anger
wow.
I mean, what they were actually showing me in front of them, it was unbelievable. It was just very sad, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, they are such great. I mean, I love that song. What was it called?
Round and Round.
The hit they had.
Round and Round.
The first. Yeah, Round and Round. But beautiful, fantastic song. And so like experiencing Rat on that tour was very dramatic and very unexpected, But I did it, and I had my good times doing it, and so the same happened with the contraband. The contraband also.
Right.
I had that period of 6 months, and left bank management asked me to be the guitarist on that thing that they were putting together, the project, with all different
Yes.
musicians from their management, and that turned out really good. But then Tracy Guns and Richard Black had a fight, and it came to an end.
Right. Yeah, no, that was a good band too. Yeah, it was a shame. I enjoyed that CD. I have it still. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for your time. I love all your work. I love your guitar playing, and I really love the CD. And I can't wait till you come to New York again, and I'll be there in the front row watching. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for the interview. Keep on okay.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You too.